Topping today's news, the country rocked by a string of murders over the weekend, including the shooting death of a teen girl while in her home. Prime Minister Philip Davis reacts to the high level of murders to begin the year, and the police hold a press conference on the recent crimes in the country. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your Jcn Evening News, and it is a pleasure to have you join us. A staggering string of murders happening here in the country over the weekend, with the latest happening in Nassau Village, where a 16-year-old female was shot and killed through a window while in her home. With grieving loved ones nearby, Police Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Jcn Skippings shared the following details on this latest killing.
Information received is that the 16-year-old teen girl was inside her residence. She was reportedly charging her phone when some unknown person or persons fired gunshots into the home, which resulted in her being fatally shot. We are investigating, and again we make an appeal to members of this community who may have seen or heard something. You may have seen someone running from the area. You may have heard some talking. We're asking you to kindly reach out to the officers of the Criminal Investigations Department.
Chief Superintendent Skippings went on to describe how this incident comes across to police as they endeavor to combat the crime issue that has carried over into the new year.
Let me say that I am disgusted because a teenager, a young lady who had a full life ahead of her, innocent, snatched away by some senseless person who has no regard for life. And so, as I mentioned earlier, a short while ago, as an organization, we remain relentless, and we will seek out those persons who seek to create havoc in our country.
Even though investigations...
Let me also say, just before you ask your question, on Monday, Commissioner Fernanda will hold press briefing, and he will update you as it relates to these recent incidents that have occurred in the country.
Now, before this incident, there was another murder that took place shortly after noon on Saturday on East Street North at a two-story building just opposite the Dilly Tree Takeaway, where a male was shot and killed and left lying at the bottom of a staircase. Chief Superintendent Skippings noted that the officers recovered a firearm on a nearby property that is believed to have been used in that murder. Active investigations continue there. Meanwhile, the Royal Bahamas Police Force is seeking the public's help in locating the following individuals wanted for questioning in connection with various crimes, including murder. First, wanted for murder, the police are looking for 33-year-old Rashad Paul, alias Eyes. Pictured here, Paul's last known address is Wiley Close off Market Street. He is listed as being between 5 feet 8 and 5 feet 10 inches tall, medium build. Today, police were also looking for 31-year-old Camille Gray of South Beach Drive. However, police informing us just moments ago that Gray, pictured here, who is wanted for questioning in connection with the murder, turned himself into police today, accompanied by his attorney. In the meantime, anyone with information on the whereabouts of Mr. Paul, you're asked to contact the police. You can remain anonymous by calling Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. That's 328-8477. On Sunday, Prime Minister Philip Davis gave remarks at the Royal Bahamas Police Force annual church service, addressing the rise in violent crime and the out-of-control murder rate to begin the new year. Prime Minister Davis says he is shocked and is calling on the police to continue its fight against criminal elements in the country.
I'm greatly saddened and deeply shocked by the recent spate of murders in our country. Only 7 days into the new year, and already the country has recorded 8 murders, each victim appearing to have been specifically targeted for one reason or another. This is not the gift of peace, which yesterday was meant to symbolize. Yes, crime has been a long-standing issue in our country, but recently, the crime of murder especially, has taken on a horrifyingly new level of brutality and barbarity. Something has indeed gone wrong, very wrong, in our society.
Prime Minister Davis believes gang activity and bail releases are some of the reasons behind the increase in violent crimes. He is calling for a revival of traditional policing, pointing to efforts his government has made to support the police.
Well, we know that here in the Bahamas, most murders and other crimes that cause significant harm are linked to gang-related activities. We see in the crime statistics the tit-for-tat killings, the targeting of people out on bail for murder, and the cycles of revenge whereby those associated with one victim seek revenge on the presumed perpetrators. I profoundly disagree with those who say, just let them shoot each other. That is not the kind of country I want to live in. And the instruction from our Christian faith could not be clearer. Thou shalt not kill. Traditional policing still has a critical and vital role to play in our efforts. And so, during the past 2 years, we have significantly increased the resources to help you to be more effective. More officers recruited, more vehicles brought onto the streets, more technological support, more firearms, and so on.
Prime Minister Davis then shifted his focus to crime prevention, stating that intervention begins early in life.
As a society, it is not our goal to fill our prisons with criminals, and it ought not to be. Instead, our real goal must be to deter or prevent crimes from being committed in the first place. This is especially true in cases of murder. The primary goal must be to prevent loss of life, rather than to fill our prisons after those lives have been violently ended. We know that this is much more easily said than done. Prevention of any crime is a vexing issue, as there needs to be some indication that a crime is about to be committed before any intervention can be made. But if someone is being specifically targeted to be killed, if there's a conscious, deliberate, prepared effort, especially by someone acting alone, it is extremely difficult to intervene ahead of time. Our focus, therefore, must be to intervene early enough in the lives of young people, especially young men.
Prime Minister Philip Davis ensures the public that his administration is focused on disrupting the gangs, highlighting the implementation of the whole government response, along with initiatives and efforts with the United States to reduce illegal trafficking of firearms. And finally, in this segment today, at the police headquarters, the Commissioner of Police, Clayton Fernanda, addressed concerns surrounding the 8 recent murders that have taken place within the first 8 days of the new year. The Commissioner says they believe some of the murders are connected, such as the shooting of Gerard Coakley in South Beach and the murder of the 16-year-old girl in Nassau Village. He shared the following details.
This individual that we are looking for in the second murder of the year, great. We found out that the mother of the 16-year-old has a relationship with this individual. During the time of the murder in Nassau Village, this individual was in that residence. Officers had chased him just maybe a day or so, because we were looking for him. He was running from the police. It appears though she was harboring him. He was there when individuals shot up the house, and so sad that the young 16-year-old was shot.
The Commissioner says over the weekend a meeting was held consisting of gang members along with members of the Christian Council, but nothing came of it.
During an operation, our response, we locked up a number of different fractions of gangs. They were in custody for the entire weekend. And we had to separate them. And I invited the Christian Council, a team from there. They came to CID along with investigators, and we had them in an area, and they separated. And the tension in that room with those young boys, I call them, the tension in that room, and everybody's head is down. And a number of questions were put to them. We wanted to know why you're killing of one another. What is going on out there? What can we do to intervene and to save some lives? And we got no response.
As for efforts in prevention, Commissioner Fernandez says the police force is actively working to help troubled children as well as their parents.
This Royal Bahamas Police Force will do whatever it takes to save a number of these youngsters who we know, if left unattended, these same senior criminals who control these gangs recruit those ones. And we're going to work with the parents. We continue to say, not all the parents cloaking now. Not all the parents are cloaking their children. Because I get a lot of calls from parents who say, Mr. Fernando, please help me. And we will try to send some help. And that's why we're going to target the communities to save these young people and to get these parents in some kind of program and to mentor them as well.
The Commissioner says while the police are accountable to the Bahamian people, citizens and residents must also hold yourselves accountable if we are going to improve our communities. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.